Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his thing. Never seen a canceled debt. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his thing. Broken heart made whole. Never seen an orphan find a home. Never seen a weak find a strength. I promise you will change his thing. Never seen the sick get healed. Never seen a mystery revealed. Never seen a death man raised. I promise you will change his thing.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the Big C, Bigger T podcast. How you doing, folks? Glad to have you today. Huh?
Did you butcher that, or was that me?
It was me. Yeah.
Okay. No, you're good.
I started out wrong there, but that's all right. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We're that podcast.
It's Christmas time. Big C, Clint Clark. How you doing, buddy? You ready for Santa Claus?
I am ready for Santa Claus. I think I've got one more present to buy. Here's how terrible of a husband I am. This happened today. So I did order Anna, my beautiful bride, ordered her present off the internets. Package gets shipped here. And I look at her and go, hey, I need you to wrap this. Don't look in it, but I need you to wrap it.
You're terrible.
You can't look at it, but
just stick a bow on top of that box.
I was going, like, if we didn't have any bows, or I was literally going to do that. I was going to put a bow like here.
Or just buy a huge gift bag, you know.
An oversized gift bag.
Yeah. Those gift bags are the greatest.
You know, it's weird. As the older I got, the more complicated, and I see it in my kids too. The older they get, the more complicated the presents get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember being like a real young and wanting a fire truck. That's all I wanted for Christmas. Fire truck. And the big gift, of course, was the fire truck. You tried to buy me a fire truck, spend that little money on my main present when I was 15 years old, I would have lost it.
Yeah.
Like
you remember all right, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
This is a big question.
Uh-huh.
Was your family a Sears catalog family or a JCPenney catalog family?
Pretty sure Sears. Positive Sears.
We were JCPenney.
Did you dog ear the pages, or would you circle?
Okay, I would circle the item, then I would dog ear the pages.
Okay, so I only would circle.
Because no, I doubled up, baby. I doubled up.
You need to double up. I would do the math for my mom and dad. Said, look, this is only.
Well, see, I was doing it for my grandparents because my mom, when I was a little kid, my mom never had any money. So, I mean, I wasn't going to get much from her. So, my grandparents would usually buy me my bigger gift, or they would help my mom get my bigger gift for me.
Right.
And I knew that. So I would circle it. I'd go to my grandparents' house and they'd always have it, and I'd go to each grandparent's house and I would sit in the floor, and I'd go through the toy section. And then my grandma would say, now I want you to go through my grandma Johnson. She always wanted to buy me clothes too. So she'd,
what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, one time I'll never forget, for some reason, she wanted to buy me a sweater. And I hate sweaters. Like I don't wear
as I walk away.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I don't like them, because Weezer warned me about them. But I remember she bought me like this, and she had me pick out a sweater color I wanted or something. Anyway, but yeah, I mean that's and
you know what that song's about, by the way?
Mm-mm.
Him having a panic attack at a party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife told me that. So if it's wrong,
No, I believe it. Yeah.
blame Anna. Like just going to
Yeah.
destroy. So yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
No, I can't believe I do.
Yeah.
Once again, proving to be a cesspool.
So did you never did the Elf on the Shelf with your kids, did you?
Tom Clark. No. Tom Clark would come over and slap me if I did that.
Yeah.
He is a no. He did his big. I haven't been over there yet, but I have to go over there at least once or twice. I may go tonight. But he did his big Christmas display again this year.
Good, good.
Yeah, he gets a kick out of doing it. He had to have a little bit more help than he did this year.
Yeah.
So he's probably he probably ain't got many of these left in him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying death, but be able to go out there and put
Put everything up. Yeah.
everything up. It just,
Wired all up, all that good stuff.
yeah, it takes. I work, so I can't just go out there and help him
Yeah.
like I'd like to. But but the man loves doing it. He just loves, like, it tickles his heart when people drive by and they go real slow through there.
Yeah.
Like he sees that, it makes him happy because they're
Yeah.
enjoying the stuff. So if you're in Greenbrier, and normally I would not do this, but I'm going to give my parents' address out. I had no plans of doing this. 18 Hilltop Drive in Greenbrier, Arkansas. Kind of over by the second water. There's 2 water towers in Greenbrier. Did you know there are 2 water towers in Greenbrier?
I did not. I
knew one, like where Coach Buckner used to live, out like going towards the house. But yeah, they live over by the there's a water tower out there. But anyway, 18 Hilltop, fantastic, fantastic Christmas light display. Now you'll see better ones, but you got to keep in mind this was done by one old man with an artificial
right.
that just was nothing more than to just bring a smile to someone's face on Christmas. Anyway, I didn't mean to get like talking on Tom Clark there, but the man's always enjoyed decorating for the holidays. I remember he put like a tree and lights on the side of the old cedar siding house.
Yeah.
And that was his first. And now it's like watching an addict whose addiction's gotten worse through the years.
Yeah, yeah.
instead of cocaine, Tom Clark.
It's lights. Yeah.
Lights.
Now you could go the other way. There was a guy I went to church with in Camden. This old man, he passed away a couple years ago, but great guy, but he's real frugal. Okay.
Yeah.
And he worked on everything himself, but he Jimmy rigged everything he had, he never bought anything new. And he had some Christmas lights that he had never taken down. When he bought them new, put them up on his house, never took them down.
Mm-hmm.
Just cheap Walmart lights. They were on his house for 25 years and they were still working.
That's amazing. Well, that's the quality they used to make. You can't get anything from Walmart 25 years now. I don't know if it's got a guarantee or not.
We were talking about that one time. And then he told me he had a hair dryer that he'd had for like nearly 50 years. And I was like, is it like gas powered? Does it have a pull crank?
Anyway. What's crazy is Tom, Dad, he gets these lights and stuff half broke.
Yeah.
And then he fixes them. He told me one day, he goes, if to just replace what he has, if just some jerk would just came up, loaded everything up one night and stole it, he said probably about $15,000. He said I didn't pay near that for it, but
he got it, yeah,
because he gets it half broken fit, and that ability skipped a generation, because me and Paul, neither one can fix anything.
Yeah,
but I do know how to hold a flashlight and get verbally abused. So
there you go.
There you go.
Well, Clint, we got our Holy Shnikes moment, and this is a pretty good one. You sent it to me the other day.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this. I was like, in there, it's not the only one. So go ahead.
No. But University of Minnesota what's the coach's there's name? Row your boat guy. PJ Fleck. Yeah. He's friends with Bo Mattingly. They kind of look alike too. Um, University of Minnesota, in case you don't know, they've recruited the quarterback, the Lindsay kid from Fayetteville High, and they pretty much guaranteed him that he would start next year. That was one of the draws that he has. That's why, he's not looking well. I don't think Arkansas really recruited him. There was some talk about Petrino coming in and starting to recruit him, and he was like, no. He said, I'm going to stick with Minnesota. And one of the reasons is because, they guaranteed him a starting job his freshman year. Okay. Kid's good. So in turn, what happened was the starter from this year at Minnesota and the backup have entered the transfer portal. And because no one wants to stay around and be behind a freshman that they've guaranteed the starting job to, or they've already promised the starting job to. Well, apparently their third stringer was going to transfer also. So in order to get him, they needed a quarterback to play in their bowl game.
Yeah.
So they come up with $30,000 of NIL money to get the kid to stay for one game. So he would play against, is it Bowling Green they're playing against in the bowl game? Just so they would have a quarterback for the bowl game. What do you think about that, Clip?
I'm not shocked. I mean, you look 2 years ago when we played, 2 years ago when we played in the Outback Bowl. How many players from Penn State opted out of that game? I'm not saying Arkansas's best wouldn't have beat their best. We also didn't have Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, our offense was quite a bit. It was like, screw it.
But I think they were missing like 9 starters.
Yeah, they were missing a lot. And then last year, fast forward to the Liberty Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were pieced together.
Well, and you and I were talking about before this, if we played in a bowl game this year, we'd be without KJ, we'd be without Rocket, we'd be without AJ Green, all the guys that are transferring out this year.
Let me ask you this, and I have no way of knowing this, and no one knows the young man's heart. You think if Arkansas was in a bowl game, KJ plays in it, yes or no? Like they go 8-4 this year, they're in the Music City Bowl.
I think the same thing would have happened.
Well, it would have definitely been a different season. I don't know.
Well, no, it would have been a different season. I think. Well, you're right. He would have had better stats, and I think he would have tried for the NFL. I think if he would have had better stats this year, he would have tried. He would have tried for the NFL.
I think he would have played in the bowl game and then tried for the NFL.
Yeah,
I really. But it's not the hand we were dealt.
Yeah. Well, and to finish up this Minnesota thing, holy shnikes.
Yeah.
Holy shnikes.
30 G's.
That's where we're going to. That's what we're moving toward. Football. Look, folks, college sports are changing right in front of our eyes.
Travis.
And it's different.
I have to say it. No one else is going to say it, but it's time for someone to do it. It's time for the bowl system to go away. It's just time. It's time to put it to bastard. Here's the thing. If there was a 12-team bowl, playoff this year.
Oh, yeah.
Ole Miss and Missouri would both be in it. Is the reality of the situation. Ole Miss and Missouri would both. So you can't tell me that on any given year, Arkansas couldn't get in it. Or can any other school. If Missouri and Ole Miss can do it, with the right schedule, the right momentum, any school can do it.
Yeah.
100%. They play in the toughest conference in the country. And they both played, Ole Miss, I think they played Georgia Tech as their non-conference game, which there's really doesn't take much to beat Georgia Tech. They're not a good team. But Missouri beat Kansas State, so they beat a good Kansas State team. with the 12-team playoff, there is no point to having bowl games anymore between the vacuum cleaners emptying. So sorry for the noise, but there's no with the between the transfer portal and the 12-team playoff. There's no need in this because Arkansas is not playing Kansas. Arkansas is not playing Penn State. A shell of a team is playing another shell of the team.
Well,
9 times out of 10.
No, I think, look, you know me, I'm old school. I like the BCS 1 and 2 play each other and everybody else goes to bowls. That's the way I like the system. I like the bowl system the way it was. But the changes that have been made with the playoff, you're exactly right. The bowls definitely don't matter. They don't have any serve any purpose. With transfer portal and NIL stuff, with kids leaving, used to the bowl system was your first time getting ready for the next season. You were going to do some things a little different, kind of, for teams that wasn't in like the chance for a national turn playoffs
kind
or
of
whatever.
Celebrate your seniors a little bit, but use it for more practice.
Yeah, use it to you got some, especially when they changed the red shirt rule when you could play a little bit, they'd play some of those guys. Well, nowadays they're so scared of people getting hurt. Coaches are telling players not to play because they don't want to get them hurt for next season.
Well, and Sam Pittman pretty much said, like, if you're going to the NFL, we don't want you playing in the bowl game.
Yeah. And so I think you're right. I think, I love the bowl system the way it was in the 80s. Okay. When players, because you listen to those players talk that played in the 70s, in the 60s, and the 80s, they talk about, remember when we got the Blue Bonnet Bowl championship. Now, to us, the Blue Bonnet Bowl was a laughing stock, all right? But to them, it mattered something. It mattered to them. And it was a big deal for them to go and, they didn't finish first in the nation, no. But they went and beat a good team in the Blue Bonnet Bowl or the Liberty Bowl. I mean, look at David Basil talking about, of course, he talks about, tackling Bo Jackson. But that winning the Liberty Bowl, that meant a lot to him. It doesn't mean anything anymore because the playoffs have changed that. And so I agree with you. I think it's just inevitable. I think they'll be gone. I mean, the bowl system will just be gone. They'll get those. They'll find what new ways to incorporate all those sponsors into the playoff system is what they'll do. They'll figure out ways for them to sponsor the different rounds or something like that. But yeah, I think, and look, I mean, they're having a hard time finding sponsors. I mean, look at the way the sponsors cycle through in bowl games too.
It was the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl like a couple years ago.
Duke Mayo.
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah.
I mean, Coles got out of doing it. I mean, at least the Liberty
Belk Bowl.
Belk. Sorry, Belk.
Bowl. Jeremy Sprinkle loved the Belk Bowl.
Yeah,
a little too much.
Yeah.
Hey.
He loved his shopping spree, didn't he? But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's
time to put it out to pasture. I mean, it's like everything. It's like it's ran its course.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just a 12-team playoff, that's one thing. But it's also the portal. And with the portal, you got teams playing without a quarterback. I mean, we would have had Malachi Singleton and Criswell. That's what we'd have had this year going into it. But anyway, well, the big news did break. KJ Jefferson is in the portal.
Yeah, where do you think he's going?
Miami. He seems to be a polarizing figure in Miami. Like there are people that are like, oh yes. And there's people that like despise him already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the bite, and he ain't even touched foot there. I've heard UCF as a possibility. Mm-hmm. And then was it TCU? I heard.
Yeah, Chandler Morris is entered the transfer portal at TCU, and so that would put him and Browse back together.
Yeah,
I think that's the most natural. But to be honest with you, I think I think that's bad for his future.
Yeah.
I think you can write him off as an NFL quarterback because he'll go there, he'll put up good stats, but I think he's going to show that he can't. I think if he went to South Carolina,
Yeah.
Dow Loggins has enough NFL pro style stuff in his offensive system that they would, the NFL would look a little closer at him the next year if he put up some good stats. I think at TCU he might put up better stats because he's going to be in Brawl's system and he's going to know it so well, and he's going to be surrounded by some good players.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll help himself in the long run if he goes there. But
No,
I think that's where he may end up.
And my mind was racing whenever you asked me that question. I didn't think I do think he probably winds up in South Carolina. You got Coach Stepp there, you got Coach Loggins. So you got two coaches he's familiar with. And I think you're right. If Loggins can find the balance there, and then he's reunited with Rocket. I don't know if I think Trey Knox, he may be coming back this year. So it's not like
he's got another year or not.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think there was either he may have a super senior year if he's got anything.
Yeah,
I'd have to look it up. But now that being said, so we're gonna have a new QB1 on the hill next year. We saw a little bit of Criswell, just a little bit. We haven't seen anything of Malachi Singleton.
No,
other than his mom is very complimentary of how he does in practice.
Yeah.
That's what I read on Twitter anyway. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You have was it Green? I'm
kid from Boise.
Kid from Boise. He was a starter at Boise. He didn't exactly light the world on fire at Boise.
No, he's a Matt Jones type. He's long striding. He's got kind of a weird throwing motion, kind of like Matt Jones, but he's got a better arm than Matt Jones did. No, but he's not quite the runner Matt Jones was either, though. He's not as electric as Matt Jones was. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's Matt Jones, but he'll remind you a lot of Matt Jones when you watch him in highlights. I think I can't remember. We may have talked about this last week, Clint. I think it'll be a 3-man race in the fall.
Too. And that's what So who do you think QB1 next year?
I'm gonna say Criswell for his arm strength.
Okay.
I think Bobby's gonna really like his arm strength. Now, I don't know much about Malachi Singleton. He may end up being it. And you got KJ Jackson coming in as a freshman.
Yeah.
So that'll be the four guys, 4 main guys. But I think it'll be a 3-man race.
No, 100%. I think you're gonna have this is the first true quarterback battle you've had. KJ was so much better than Malik Hornsby, and they had to see that early. There probably hasn't been a quarterback battle since Sam Pittman got there. I mean, let's just be downright honest. It's the first time you have it, and Sam Pittman knows his job's on the line. I mean, Pittman's a lot of things, and Snoop is not one of them. So he's not going to play favorites. It's who he thinks can win. Who he thinks he can win games. There's a lot of people upset probably that Singleton didn't get in against Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
My theory on that was we all saw what kind of game that was.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to subject a true freshman to that.
Yeah.
And that I 100%.
He didn't want to hurt his confidence. Yeah. Criswell's older. He could take it, but no, yeah. I think Bobby's going to like Criswell's arm because Criswell's got a cannon. I mean, Criswell's got a better arm than KJ. He doesn't have some of the other things KJ had. Okay. I'm not once again, but he's got a rocket coming off his right shoulder. And
we're not one of them. We're not one of them podcasts that's sitting here talking about how how people just seem to have just dismissed KJ like he was not a very good quarterback.
Yeah, no.
KJ's a great quarterback.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's a great quarterback, and y'all that you keep trashing him on social media, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
You're just wrong. He played hurt for you last year, and then you pretty much lose both games he's out. And a healthy KJ wins you 2 or 3 more games last year.
Yeah.
This year, I don't care if you had the mixture of Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson back there. No one could have done anything with this offensive line the way it was.
Yeah.
Nobody could have.
Well, I'm telling you too, Clint. I've heard some of the. We've got some offensive linemen that are being recruited. That are signing, and I heard one of them interviewed on the Zone yesterday, and he's from San Jose State, and I tell you, his interview was impressive. He was an impressive sounding guy. Now, his stat wise, he's a left tackle. He played 8 plays of high school football. No, I'm sorry, 8 games of high school football. But he was playing during like COVID and all that. San Jose State offered him off of those 8. He was a basketball player and a tennis player. And his brother talked him into going out to play tight end for this high school team. And he was playing tight end, and he went to some camps and stuff in California at San Jose State. And they told him they were going to move him to offensive line. And apparently he did well at offensive line at San Jose State, and he's one of the top portal guys. And we got him, and he's going to be a tackle, and was a really, really neat, sounds like a neat guy, really good interview. Sound like just a really neat guy. So sounds like they're getting some good portal guys.
Well, I think you know it was unfair to judge KJ and the receiving core by last year, just in my opinion. And that the offensive line was just that they were that bad.
Yeah.
And they were, and it was sad, but I think you got the portal guys obviously coming in. You seem to have a little pipeline from Georgia.
We got that. Was it a cornerback from Georgia?
Got a
5-star
linebacker and 5-star cornerback.
Yeah.
Out of high school. I mean, they rate them 4-star. One of them a 4-star portal guy. The other may have been a 5-star portal.
Yeah.
I don't know how portal rankings go.
Yeah.
But yeah, they two guys from Georgia came in. One of them definitely, that's your poop hall replacement. It looks like Singletary's coming back, and you got this 5-star from Georgia coming in. So you got to feel good about the linebacking core to a degree. I feel pretty good about the secondary, and I feel with, you got some studs coming back on the defensive line. So I really do feel confident with the defense.
Yeah.
If you can figure out, and you got the receiving core coming back, they should just all be another year better. You got Broden, Armstrong, Tesla, Santanga coming back, Wilson. So you've got that, and then you've got.
Don't you know that Bobby's going to use Santanga better?
Yeah, and then same thing with Haas and Ty Washington. I mean, I definitely see some two hot sets. I think Bobby's got some toys to play with.
Yeah.
And I think, and I think Bobby, if nothing else, will be able to take, and this wasn't what we were going to talk about, but Bobby's going to be able to take a lot off the plate. Dan Pittman. And I mean, he really is, because Pittman probably felt like he was a babysitter some last year.
Yeah.
And then I think it seems like everybody's really excited about the offensive line coach hire too.
I think Mateos is going to be a great hire. I think that was a definite upgrade for sure.
So I sent you, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I sent you another video, bud. This one was a little bit different one. It was a Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
You told me to have it ready to play, and I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain to the good people what's in that video?
Well, maybe folks saw it, but Chip Kelly was in a press conference, and he was being asked about NIL transfer portal things, and Clint, a lot of what he talked about is the same stuff that we've said on here.
Yeah.
Okay. He just pretty much said it in a kind of a different way and kind of called it by some different things, but it was pretty much the same thing. And he said pretty much that that college football needs to separate from other sports
100%.
and needs to go to a pro football model. He said it needs to be, he said there needs to be the Power Five teams need to the top 64 of them, and then like 64 of the group of five, and they can, they can play their own like leagues. He said set it up. He said with conferences. He said he said to where he said we could play like 7 games with play teams like on West Coast. Of course, he's at UCLA, so he's talking about, from UCLA. He said we could play 7 teams from the West Coast, and then have just like the NFL does. The NFL, like say the AFC North, I think is playing the NFC West this year.
Yeah, they rotated everything.
They'll play every team in their conference twice during the year, and then they'll play all the teams from the NFC West, and then next year it'll be another one. Okay, so that's kind of what he was saying. He was saying, he's saying we could play 7 teams from our conference, and then we could play a couple teams from the South or from wherever. He said, and then he said, and this is, I think, where you really kind of perked up on this. He said the players need to be paid by the schools. It needs to be like a revenue sharing from the TV contracts or whatever. Yeah. And to get rid of the NIL completely, to where the players are just paid by the school, and that way it can be organized and it can be equal to where it's not, just like with Arkansas. Okay. We've talked about it. One of the problems that we think as we look at Arkansas, and we try to figure out what happened this year. One of the problems we could look at is say, okay, our quarterback is wearing $150,000 worth of jewelry and buying a nice Corvette car, and the guys blocking for him don't have anything like that.
They're thanking us for coming in for letting them come into the podcast for $200. I mean,
yeah.
Well, they're like, hey man, thank you.
And they're jumping at opportunities for that. Okay. Yeah. And so that's made it tough. That's what Sam Pittman's talking about when struggles in the locker room. Okay. And that's, to me, that's what it's probably coming down to. Imagine, put yourself in that situation. And so what Chip Kelly was saying was, look, put them all under the same. And he said it, and he did say they need a commissioner, which I don't know if it necessarily has to be a commissioner. I think it could be done by, it probably needs some kind of commissioner. But I just hate to see someone make as much money as Roger Goodell makes, because he makes way too much money for the job he does.
And I've said it for years. Like, football needs to be separate. NCAA.
And that's what, and Chip Kelly said. He said, look, our volleyball team doesn't need to be playing
100%.
He said, our volleyball team needs to be playing Arizona. He said they need to be playing teams closer to us.
100%. Yeah, because man, we've all been in the airport and seen, like, I was in Vegas not that long ago, and I saw, I don't know what they were, but they were a bunch of very tall women from Miami. That were in there, they're flying commercial. They're not chartering the plane to fly the girls from. It makes no sense for UCLA to play Rutgers.
No,
it's all about the football kind. Is the I know there's a lot of money in basketball, but it's not quite. All these realignments happening because of football.
Yeah,
that's what it is. You had Jim Boeheim. He was like, when Syracuse joined the ACC and left the Big East, he's like, guys, you know what this is about. This is
in basketball, Clint. Think about it. They play twice a week.
Yeah.
So, like say when Arkansas plays on Saturday. Or let's just say UCLA, if they play on Saturday, and a lot of times they play late at night, right? So let's say they play a late night game on Saturday at home, and then they play on a Wednesday night. They're going to be in the Big Ten next year. So let's say they play Wednesday night at Michigan. That's a lot of travel,
Yeah.
like with Arkansas, when Arkansas plays Ole Miss on a weeknight, they can be home in 2 hours with that plane flight. You know what I mean? Like, so they can be back home and in their bed in 2 hours, actually. But when you're playing across country, like they're going to have to do, like even basketball, that's a lot of extra travel. With football, you're playing once a week, so it can be done, and you're playing on Saturday.
I think kind of girls lacrosse.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever, the girls volleyball team. I mean, it's just, it's not right.
Yeah.
And so football, you play once a week, it's easier.
Yeah.
I just,
Well, and you were bringing up, and you brought up too, that if the kids were paid by the school, which that's something I've said, okay, and I've said it in a way. I realized when Chip Kelly was saying it, I was probably saying it in a way that wasn't as clear as I'd like to have been, because he said it more in a way, he's like, look, because I wasn't talking about revenue sharing when I said it, but to me, that's what should have happened from the get go. The school should have started paying them. But here's the thing: if they become employees of the school, then like you brought up, that means they could be under contract.
Contracts. I was going to say, did SMU have it right all along? They were back in the good old days when they're paying the kids under the tables.
Yeah.
And them kids had contracts.
Yeah.
Which was illegal back then. But here, this was before KJ ever got in the portal, so I don't know what the number's up to now. You have, 106, like 120-ish Division I schools, right?
Yeah.
Give or take.
133.
133?
I think so. Something like that.
Remember,
remember, we were like 131 on defense last year, and we were last.
Oh, yeah.
And pass defense.
Okay, so 130, let's say there's 135 there's 130 kids in the quarterbacks in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And this is where KJ had in that, which has been Arkansas would have been one of the only schools without a quarterback in the portal.
Yeah.
And so I mean, Texas is in the playoffs and they've got a quarterback in the portal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, and back to, if the players had contracts,
yeah,
that would, you could at least curb some of this crazy transferring every year stuff.
Yeah.
You could stop some of that. You at least make it, a 2-year contract or something like that. That's hard to say, because then you say, well, coaches don't have that, then they can go, but they have buyouts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's the big, but then what happens if you're Alabama and you're like, look, I really like this Luke Haas kid. What's your buyout, kid?
Yeah.
$500,000. Like, all right, we're going to give you what you're in. Like, they can come out and they can offer to buy. But it's just, it's a problem. And, we had Coach Mullins on here several times. He goes, I know so many football coaches and they're miserable.
Yeah. And that's what's important. That's why Chip Kelly said all this, folks, is these coaches are not happy with what's going on. They're not happy with it. And, it's making it hard for them to do their job, and they want it to get fixed. That's why Matt Rule's saying what he's saying. That's why Saban keeps saying the stuff he's saying. They want it to get fixed. They want something new. And Chip Kelly said on the Pat McAfee show, saw him interviewed on there, and he was saying that, he said, because McAfee was like, Coach, are you going to serve on a committee to do this or whatever? He said, no. He said, but there does need to be some coaches. He said, get Sankey on there. He said, I respect him. And he said, he mentioned someone else that was athletic director or whatever. But then he said, but get like a David Cutcliffe and He mentioned some other older coaches that were kind of retired now.
Yeah, because these guys are, because these guys like Coach Mullins, they're still in the game. You know what I'm saying? They're still, they're not in the game, but they're in the game. People talk to them and people pick their brain. When I need advice on something, I've got mentors that I call, and they're people that are calling David Cutcliffe, like picking his brain about this. And same thing with Fulmer and some of these other old coaches. Houston Nutt probably gets his brain picked from time to time.
Yeah.
They've got their finger on the pulse, and I think that's a way to do it. But the way we're doing it right now, there needs to be, it's got to slow down. It's not sustainable, because Travis, we're recording this on Wednesday. What was today?
National Signing Day.
Does anybody care?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even realize. I mean, it used to be, man, on National Sign Day, I was tuning into the buzz. I knew who we were signing. We had a couple kids that a couple guys that were after that, in Arkansas that we didn't get, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody's focused on the portal because you're like, well, if it don't work out in a couple of years, you can just come right back.
That's right.
Or, it's just, that's the way everybody is. It's almost like, would you rather get the first shot at them or the second shot?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the reality, is like, this isn't your only shot at the kid.
Yeah.
Eventually a kid's going to hit adversity.
Yeah.
And if he listens to the wrong people, you can get, it's like you can either fight through it or you can just walk away.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, but I think the portals killed the thrill of National Signing Day. It's like, well, we got him now, but is this true freshman going to wait around 2 or 3 years while he's having to sit behind Kudus or, whoever?
Yeah. Well, Clint, I got to tell you something crazy happened to me.
Right.
All right. Do you ever have dreams?
Yeah. I have a dream.
I
mean, I think back when I was a kid. I ain't had one.
I get dreams quite a bit, and I've had a lot here lately. And you ever seen the movie Inception?
I have seen with Tom Hardy and Leo.
Leo
Nolan, correct?
I think so, maybe. Yeah. And it talks about the dream within a dream type deal. Well, I had that the other night.
Okay.
Okay. And it brings me to talk about what I want to talk about here as we finish up the podcast. I had a dream that I was sitting at a bar, which while I was sitting at a bar, I'm like the least likely person to be sitting at a bar. Okay. But I did watch a lot of Cheers, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm sitting at this bar. All I know is I was sitting there and I could see the bar in front of me, and someone walks up and sits beside me. And it's Mike Leach. And I tell myself, Mike Leach is dead.
Did you think you had died for a moment? Like maybe like
no.
I mean, I know you're a preacher and you're very religious, but did it cross your mind like?
No, I wasn't thinking I died. I was just very aware that he was dead.
Okay.
And so then I said to myself, I must be dreaming. So in my dream, I realized I was dreaming.
Right.
But then what happened next was this. And this is true, y'all. I'm not making this ain't up just for podcast story. I said, but I got a chance to talk to Mike Leach.
Yeah. Even if it's all in your head, it's an opportunity to talk to Mike Leach.
I'm gonna see what he says. That's what went through my head. That's what went through my thinking there as I was sitting there next to Mike Leach in my dream at a bar. So I start talking football with Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Now I don't remember much of what we talked about. My memory of the dream kind of goes from there. Okay.
Probably his knowledge of the wing tee.
More than likely, yeah. The flex bone offense, yeah. But so that got us thinking, okay, if you could sit down at dinner with 3 sports people, okay,
football minds.
Let's say football, right?
Yeah.
Football minds. 3 football minds that you could sit and talk talk football with? You know, 3 of them. So it's like a dinner party, right?
Yeah,
Are we gonna? Do you
they
want to
kind of
do?
got to be off the wall. We don't want to say like Nick Saban.
No, no. Would you want to say they can be alive or dead or what?
That you can either way, but just they can't be like obvious.
Okay.
No, not too of them. Like off the radar,
Okay.
Because my number one, I tell you, my first guy I'm invited to dinner. We're doing 3 of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony Romo.
Okay.
I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, Tony Romo, he was either undrafted free agent or very late round pick from an FCS school, if I'm not mistaken, Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
So at the best, he was no, that's not a MAC school. I don't know where they'd be, but he was out of Eastern Washington. Just made the Cowboys because it was cheaper to keep him than Clint Sterner.
Yeah.
Because Clint Sterner, they had to pay him the veteran minimum. They would have paid Romo the rookie minimum. And he worked his way on up to being the franchise quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then he gets beat out by Dak Prescott. Dak caught fire his rookie year, and he just, if you want to see how a man takes a benching, watch Tony Romo.
Yeah.
And he's at the tail end of his career, and then he's transitioned to I love his broadcasting. I think he's probably the best color man in the business right now.
Yeah.
So I really I would want to see, because he sees it, his ability to look at a formation goes, look, this is what they're probably going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
His mind.
He's cut back on that a little bit, hadn't he?
Yeah, but
I think they told him to a little bit.
Yeah, but he's still pretty good. But to see how he sees the game, I think he'd be a fascinating one to talk to.
Yeah. All right. Well, my first one would be none other than the greatest running back of all time, Jim Brown.
It's a good one.
And part of it because just to hear him tell why he quit early, why he decided to end his career, and go into movies and stuff, his experience doing movies, his experience in race relations and civil rights stuff, and the people that he's been around, through doing stuff in civil rights and all that. I mean, the stories he could tell there. And then in lacrosse, his ability in lacrosse that he had. I mean, a lot of people say he was better at lacrosse than he was at football.
Yeah, I think he says that he's better at lacrosse.
And so, yeah, man, he would be a fun one. I think a fun one to talk to, and you could definitely get some wisdom from him for sure. All right, who's your next one?
Well, I believe he has passed away. When I changed my mind here on this one, because I had a few different ones in my head. But how about talking to Buddy Ryan?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's got 2 boys that have been great defensive coordinators in the NFL.
Yeah.
He coached a football team with a head coach that he hated.
Yeah. And they won one of the best teams ever.
Yeah, probably the defensive coordinator for the greatest defense ever assembled. That 85 Bears team.
And he couldn't stand his head coach. Yeah.
Him and Ditka couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
And Buddy had him a good run.
It was so bad, Clint, after they won the Super Bowl, the players lifted them both up on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And carried them off the field. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, that he would be a good one. He would be a real good one. And obviously, to see your sons break into the profession too and be highly successful.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
sure.
Rex was obviously a little bit more successful than Rob, but still, we're a long time defense coordinator in the NFL. I don't think none of them are hurting for money.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay. This next one, there was a couple of different people, but this one's kind of boring. But I would just love to pick his brain and just see, especially because I think he would give you so many details because his mind is so solid. But Bill Belichick.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, part of this is selfish because look, he coached at Cleveland. You know, he was the coach there when Art Modell took the team away. And so, I mean, I'd like to hear some of that. Hear some about all the coaches he had under him, you know, that have made a difference in the NFL and college now. But he's done it in such a way that's so different than everybody else. I would really just like to. I know he's, you know, now people are talking about he's not as good as what everybody thought and all that kind of stuff. You know, come on. I just think I'd love to sit down with him. And once again, that's kind of a boring one. You know, I probably should have thought of someone, but
you're good. Well, since you cheated chip Bill Belichick, I'm gonna name two here. Because this is the one that I'm leaving off my list, and it's a sad one to leave off the list, but I'm thinking Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be fun to talk him, you know, with those Miami teams, because he was the head coach of the Miami Swagger days. And then he pulled off the greatest trade heist in the history of trade heist when we traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings.
Now that was all Jerry's doing.
Well, Jimmy took the credit for it. So so that'd be another fun one to pick.
Jerry took the credit for Jimmy's move, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either one. They both want to take the credit for it. Everybody wants to take credit for the good decisions. No one wants to take credit for the bad ones.
Yeah.
But, you know, that would be fun. And, you know, how, you know, his thought process at Miami and how he transitioned, because there's a lot of college coaches that go to the NFL and they don't work out, and he did.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. But my number one guy is I want to pick the brain of Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I freaking love me some Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Just the way he recruits and everything.
Well, and he would be an interesting one because you got the history with his dad too. Because Monty Kiffin, for me, I'd love to talk to Lane Kiffin, but I'd probably get more out of talking to his dad. His dad had been around so long and done so much, but yeah.
Right. So who's your number one guy, Trev?
Well, my number one is, I think, the most interesting conversation anyone could have, and he was in my dream. Mike Leach. I think a conversation with him, you're going to talk football, you're going to talk history, you're going to talk food, you're going to talk art, you're going to talk music, or whatever else happens to come up. So I would that conversation with Mike Leach that I didn't get to have, or that I got to have a little bit of in my good old Inception dream there. I'd like to have a longer version of that and a real version of that. So that would be he would be my number one. And my honorable mention that I was going to have, I was trying to decide on my Belichick pick, because you mentioned another one also, but was Bill Walsh. I'd love to talk to him. So he would be he'd be an interesting one too, with starting the good old West Coast offense. Well, folks, so that's our top picks. If you ever had a dream like that, a dream within a dream, let us know about it. Subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for watching, however you're getting this. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Look, folks, we need those subscribes, like, and shares. Don't just listen to me say that and go off and not do nothing. Do something about it, okay? The more you do that, the more these videos and these podcasts get out there for people to watch and listen to. So anyway, Clint.
Bye, everybody.
Peace out.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, when I work, my hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no order till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard drive so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I swear when I work, my hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no order till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I swear when I work, my hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no order till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating down so hard, I can barely breathe. Hard to sing a joyful song, the words got me on my knees. Then the gentle breeze blows by, pick me up right on time. Listen,